願天主的愛，事事與你們同在. This is the greeting that I bring to you from the Chinese people of Hong Kong and Macau, and it means, may God's love be always with you. Thank you, Father Lam, for your kind introduction. As Father told you, my name is Sister Arlene Trant. I'm a Maryknoll sister. I'm very grateful to Archbishop Gomez and Lydia Gamboa, the director of the mission office, as well as to your pastor for giving me this opportunity to share with you a little bit about Maryknoll Sisters and my own mission experiences. I spent most of my mission life living and working in Hong Kong and Macau, but I had the privilege also of working in Guatemala for 6 years. The readings we just heard are very powerful. The first reading, it says, Jeremiah ought to be put to death. He's demoralizing the soldiers. And yet we know, speaking out like this is the role of the prophet. In the gospel, Jesus said, I have come to set the earth on fire, and how I wish it were blazing already. And then Jesus talked about himself as being a source of division. And we know in our world today there is so much division. And as I prayed over these readings, I was reminded of a dear friend of mine, Rosario Caal in Guatemala. At the time when Guatemala was in the midst of a civil war, she and her family lived in a mountain village. And she told me of that terrible day when the army came through their village and all the people had to run for their lives. She and her husband ran, she holding their tiny infant in her arms, and their little 3-year-old daughter running beside them. And as they ran, the army opened fire and shot their little girl. And they just had to keep running because she couldn't turn back. She had to protect her tiny infant. And together with the others in their village, they ran into the hills for shelter. Eventually they made their way over the mountains into Guatemala City and settled in a squatter area on the southern side of Guatemala City where I was working. They lost everything, but their faith remained strong. And yet one day, with tears in her eyes, Rosario confided in me that she couldn't pray the Our Father because she said she just can't find it in her heart to forgive the soldier who killed her little girl. And that deep sadness remained with her in her heart for many, many years. And one day when I stopped by to visit Rosario, I saw she had a beautiful smile on her face. And I said, what's going on? What happened? And she said, Sister, let me tell you, last night, my little girl came to me in a dream, and she was radiant, and she was smiling, and she said, Mama, don't worry about me, I'm fine. And Rosario said that at that moment, such a peace came over her because she knew that her little girl was indeed fine and was in the loving embrace of God. And at that moment, Rosario finally was able to let go of the anger that she had kept inside her for so long and allowed God's forgiving love to flood her being. The psalm we heard today said, I waited and waited for the Lord, and he heard my cry. God certainly heard Rosario's cry. As missionaries, we journey with people, pray with them, support them, and help them as best we can. But I found for myself the greatest joy of being a missioner is not in solving people's problems myself, but in standing with them, praying with them, and together seeing the power of God's love transform their lives, as it did Rosario's. And it is this fire of God's love that Jesus came to set, and that he longs to see blazing. It's this fire that opened Rosario's heart to forgiveness and ultimately to find true peace. And it is this unconditional love of God that motivates women from 29 countries around the world to become Maryknoll Sisters and join us in our mission work in Africa, Asia, Latin America, as well as right here in the United States. Maryknoll Sisters work in a variety of ministries, work with youth, with the sick and dying in soup kitchens. We work in environmental issues, in social justice issues, according to the needs of the people to whom we are sent. But all Maryknoll Sisters have experienced firsthand that when we reach out to people in need, miracles happen. The poor are fed, the sick are healed, and God's forgiving love is shared. I brought with me today some literature about Maryknoll Sisters, and I have them in the back of the church, and you're more than welcome to take it and learn more about Maryknoll Sisters. We Maryknoll Sisters know very well that we couldn't do any of this work without your help, the help of generous people like yourselves. Maryknoll was founded right here in the United States in the early 1900s. Since our beginning, it has been the support of American Catholics like yourselves that have allowed us to be in mission. And so I'm here first and foremost to thank each one of you for your support of the missions over the years. But I'm also here to invite you to join us in mission. If any of you sense a desire in your own hearts to go to another country and share God's love, share your gifts and talents with people of another culture, I invite you to consider joining us in Maryknoll as sister, priest, brother, lay missioner, married or single. It is a wonderful vocation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to talk with you after Mass. There are two other ways that you can help us, but the most important way is through your prayers. I ask you to please remember Maryknoll Sisters and all missioners in your good prayers. And please be assured that as partners in mission with us, you and your families will be remembered in our prayers as well. Another way that you can help us is through your financial support. The mission office has sent over these mission envelopes, and there will be a second collection for the Maryknoll Sisters. And I just thank you in advance for whatever you're able to share with us. Recently, one of our sisters from Tanzania was assigned to our China region. And of course, we were all thrilled. But that means that her travel expenses and language school all have to be covered. And so we do need your financial help. And it is through your prayers and financial help that we're able, that your support makes us one with us in mission. And we're truly grateful for whatever you're able to share with us. So whether Maryknoll Sisters are sharing our faith with a group of non-Christians in an RCIA class somewhere in Asia, or sitting in a hut in Africa at the bedside of someone suffering from AIDS, or treating a malnourished child in one of our clinics in Latin America, we know that it is because of your help that we are able to bring God's love and compassion to the poor. And so on behalf of Maryknoll Sisters around the world and all the people that we serve, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we will be remembering you and your families in our hearts and in our prayers. 天主保佑. God bless you all. Thank you.